What's up, everybody? We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome
Hey.
to Metalhead's Journey. We've made it back around to that's my best trying to go from Astronomy, the Metallica cover for Blue Oyster Cult.
I thought you were
my
doing
best.
Sad But True, actually, because when you said hey, I said hey right after, as in, like, for that song.
I think it's the same exact hey, but hey, either way, we're back around. As you guys may or may not know, because there's probably only one of you that makes it to the end of our shows. We often reference a Metal Time Machine. We have made it back around. It's only taken us about 16 weeks to get back around to the next Metal Time Machine. For those who don't know what we do here, we've taken the last 40 years of albums and we put the 40 years on a wheel, okay? The Wheel of Doom. And we spin that wheel to determine what year album we're going to do. Now, you may think, and this is probably common, you may think we would pick the best album from that year. That's not what we do here, okay? We have an affinity for the number 4. There's 4 of us. We're doing 4 different album lists at the same time, not counting this one. And also, when we do brackets, we shuffle them 4 times to make sure that we're learning about the matchup at the same time as you are.
And the first content we did for it predates this channel, but the first content we did in metal was the big 4 of thrash metal. So there's 4s everywhere.
It's been with us for a while. So anyway, long story short, we like to choose the 4th best record from the year that we land on, unless the album is not good, and then we change it. But in this case, we did not do that. So this case, we landed on.
We've only done that once.
Yeah, we've only done it once.
Sorry,
we've only done
the
Metal Time Machine like 3 times. Anyway, this time around, we landed on Gamma Ray with their album from 1995. This is Land of the Free. We'll do a quick history of the band and the album and get right into the review here. Gamma Ray is a German power metal band from Hamburg, and they were founded in 1989 by Kai Hansen after his departure from Helloween, which we've done some reviews for Helloween in the past, where he was a key songwriter and guitarist. Initially a studio project with vocalist Ralf Scheepers, bassist Uwe Wessel, I'm doing my best here, and drummer Matthias Burkhardt. The band solidified into a full-fledged act, releasing their debut album, Heading for Tomorrow, in 1990, which echoed Helloween's melodic speed metal style. Earlier saw frequent lineup changes, with Scheepers leaving in 1994 to form Primal Fear, prompting Hansen to take over lead vocals. The 1995 album Land of the Free marked a creative peak, cementing their status in the power metal scene. Despite numerous personnel shifts, the lineup stabilized by 1997 with Hansen, Dirk Schlachter, Hinjo Richter, and Dan Zimmerman, who was then later replaced by Michael Ayer in 2012, delivering a consistent run of albums blending bombastic riffs, sci-fi themes, and classic metal influences like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, with 11 studio albums released by 2014. Land of the Free, released in 1995, is a landmark power metal album, often hailed as one of the genre's finest works, even though it wasn't on our top. Was it on our top?
It was.
Oh, it wasn't. Yeah, screw that.
I think it was like in the top 3 actually on that list.
The album marked a pivotal. We never got there. The album marked a pivotal moment for the band as Kai Hansen took over lead vocals following Ralf Scheepers' departure, delivering a passionate performance that complemented the album's soaring melodies and intricate instrumentation. With tracks like the epic title track "Rebellion in Dreamland" and "Man on a Mission," the album blends fast-paced melodic riffs with fantasy and sci-fi lyrical themes, showcasing Hansen's songwriting prowess and the band's tightened chemistry, featuring Dirk Schlachter, Jan Rubach, and Thomas Knack. Its anthemic energy, complex arrangements, and polished production solidified Gamma Ray's reputation, influencing the European power metal scene and earning enduring acclaim among fans.
Josh, if you don't mind me like speaking for you and I for just a brief second, I feel like you and I are the go-to guys when it comes to power metal on here. We typically champion reacting to power metal videos. We're usually the most hyped for those. And I feel like we
used to host a show called Half Hour of Power.
What a great name. Copyright pending. So if you know, I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I think going into this, I was very excited for this album. I was familiar in name of Gamma Ray. We did a reaction to the first song from this record, which we all enjoyed. I believe to varying degrees. I thought was good. And I was also hopeful that I was like, man, if this is a single, like the rest of the songs got to be just banging. And look, spoiler alert here. I'm not gonna mince words. That first song is where the album peaks for me, and it never quite reaches that high watermark ever again. There are moments and riffs like opening riffs that are really good, like Salvation's Calling, stuff like that, which are good. But in general, this album was a slog. So, what do you have any additional thoughts there, Josh? I don't want to steal all your thunder, but
yeah, I agree with you pretty much 100%. It's one of those things where you and I are the main power metal guys here, so it's not like Napalm Death, which is the album that we switched out of a little while back, where it's not a style of music that we listen to very often. So you can't really determine if it's good or not. It's just not your style.
Yeah, with that album we weren't going to really be able to fairly judge it, which is part of the reason why we moved on from it.
Yeah, this album is definitely our style. And in listening to it, I found myself thinking like, yeah, this is something I should like. And then, like you listen to the next song and it's just like, I find myself after about 30 seconds to a minute, I'm like, what else can I listen to? Like, what else is there? It's not even like changing songs. It's just like, I've listened to so many other bands in the last 3 weeks. I've listened to this album one time in the last 3 weeks. Like, I just could not bring myself to go back to it. It was tough. It's not bad. I just don't care about it. At the end of the day, ultimately, as Jason would say, this is the definition of absolutely fine, and that might even be a bit much. This may just be the definition of fine, just fine. So, but I know what's interesting is, since me and Dave are kind of crapping on this, and I think Jonah's in the same ballpark we are.
Not quite as low as you probably, but I do have some criticisms for sure.
Well, let's break it up a little bit because I'm shocked that I know for a fact here the Human Fossil, Jason over here, has actually really loved spending time with this record. So I would love to hear your perspective on this record and why this is the power metal album that has broken down the door for you.
You couldn't have said it better. This was like my gateway album. This was similar to my Judas Priest experience, in the fact that going through the album, I just kept liking it more and more and more as I go. And we reacted to like Rebellion and Dreamland, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, which is it's one of the songs I'm going to cut. Like, spoiler alert. It is a fine song. It's good even.
Fossil not only loves his album, he's coming in with deep cuts. My man.
So I did not even have that in my top 3, and it is one of my cuts.
Good for you, man.
I absolutely enjoyed it. I felt like this album was right in line with a lot of stuff that I actually do enjoy. Galloping riffs, up-tempo beats as far as your drummer was concerned. I thought the vocalist had some high highs, but not so high that it made me want to turn it off. I thought the vocalist was right in range with what I wanted it to be in a like gateway power metal. Huh? Yeah, And the thing was is that he had a good range, and so he always didn't have to just hit the highest notes he possibly could just to prove that he could do it. So he stayed in whatever range of the song I felt needed. I thought one of the attributes of this band, much like Judas Priest, was they put an emphasis on the bridge and solos. I felt as though they wanted to make sure that that was the high point of the song, and showcasing whatever it was that they were skilled at. But the more, like I said, the more and more I listen to this album, this is a great album, in my opinion. This is exactly why why we do this, because we want to come across a band like this that opens the door for hopefully other bands. I can honestly say that even though I'm the Rebellion and Dreamland is going to be a cut of mine, like I would never take it off the actual playthrough. And on top of the praise that I've given it so far, this kind of broke the mold. I don't skip songs. There's not a single skipper for me on this album. And I actually prefer to listen to this start to finish. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to have this and enjoy it as much when I just take out, my highest rated scores, because that's usually what I do. Is my favorite songs on the album I'll add to my favorites list. This entire album, start to finish, for me, is a complete great piece of work. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm shocked that you guys did not like it more.
If you like this album, let me tell you a little story. There's an entire genre of power metal out there that is in fact better than this record.
And you and me kind of talked about this, like I guess last week, because this is not, in my opinion, the typical power metal we come across.
It's not. In my opinion, it's not.
Yeah, but this was...
because usually the power metal we come across is good.
Well, in 1995, like, how far away is this from power metal of 1995?
That's fair.
Like this would be... I don't think I would have liked this in 1995. But I really do like this in 2025.
All right. Jonah, bring us back down to earth.
So I definitely fall somewhere in the middle between these two extreme opinions. But I definitely was shocked the first time I heard you, Josh, say that you weren't really feeling this album, because on my first listen to it, I'm like, yeah, this sounds like something Josh would really like. But it as I kept listening to it, and I mentioned this to Dave before we started recording, the album isn't really that long, but it does feel kind of long. And that was my kind of experience once I started getting to, the fifth, sixth listen through, whatever, making my notes and stuff like that. I don't think it's a bad album by any means. I think it's a solid album, very technically sound. I think it sounds great. Like the instrumentation is clear. The production value is there. The Bix levels are great for me. There's some really good riffs on here too. Even if you don't like necessarily the whole song, there's some really good riffs in here. Freaking Gods of Deliverance and Salvation's Calling, just banger riffs to open up those two tracks. Spoiler alert for some of my picks in the future. And they do seem to be kind of wearing their influences on their sleeve. I feel like it. There's a few moments in here I'm like, that sounds like this other song, or this sounds like that other song. And I think maybe that, I wouldn't call it a detractor for me, but it did distract a little bit, at least during my initial listen through. But overall, I do think it's fine. I don't think it's a great album, but I don't think it's bad by any means. The cuts, I think, are pretty generous on my end. There's several obvious ones because they're of what they are, but we can get into that later. But yeah, overall, I did enjoy it.
I mean, if we don't all have the 3 under-minute long songs as easy cuts, then I think you're fooling yourself.
Exactly.
Jason, I'm looking at you.
I have to.
Yeah. Jonah,
one's a keeper. One's a keeper for me.
Jonah, who's your MVP?
So I'm gonna swerve a little bit here because I mentioned two songs specifically just now. I'm gonna go with John Rubach,
Okay.
the bass player. I really like his bass work on here, and two of the songs that he wrote, I think, are absolute bangers. He's credited as writing the music for those and the lyrics for the other one. Absolute bangers. Gods of Deliverance and Salvation's Calling. Easily the best riffs on the album. Two of the best songs on the album, in my opinion. And doing just a quick read through of the Wikipedia page for this, it sounds like after this album, they were trying to get John Rubach to switch with Schlatter to be the second guitarist instead of being the bass player, and Schlatter would be the bass player. So obviously he's got some skill, he's got some chops, and even the band recognized it themselves. So, you know, I'm going to pull a curve a little bit and make John Rubach my MVP.
Fair enough. I'm going to go chalk here, man. I think you got to go Kai Hansen. I mean, he's wearing many hats. He wrote most of the record. You know,
He produced it.
Yeah, so I think this is low hanging fruit, but doesn't mean it's wrong.
I agree with.
Yeah, I think it's. I want to add this because it's. I feel like it's really relevant to bring it up now. While Kai Hansen is my MVP, he is my MVP solely for like his obvious like music and like credits workload. But I think his vocals are what is my problem with the record. They're not bad, but my problem is that his lyrics and his vocals don't bring me in. Like at all. Like I'm
right there with you.
Like I don't have any like I know this isn't fair, but if you put Rob Halford on this record, and I get it, not fair, it's Halford, totally understand. But even if you don't change the lyrics, if you just put Halford on this record, I feel like this record, spoiler alert, would probably instantly jump like 2 points for me.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that when I was picking my MVP. You know, again, he has a pretty heavy workload as far as writing and producing and all that, but I think his performance vocally is the weakest part of this album for me. Like it's good, it's not bad, but when the other musicians stand out a little more, in my opinion, I think it did bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, like I'd be curious because this is the first album where he took over vocal duties. Yeah. I would be very curious to listen to the previous album to see what like because I feel like that's probably why Jason likes it because this doesn't really have a true power metal vocalist
because the vocals aren't good.
Yeah. And saying they're not good, saying they're not good would be a stretch for me. But I do think that is distinctly what my problem is. But he's still my MVP because the guitar work and everything else he does.
Sure, he's my MVP because he's the best at everything he did.
All right, Jason, what would you give the album title and cover art?
Let's see, album cover art. Let's see, this one had the like the skull in the background. It had people coming through the rip in the time rip or whatever.
I will say I will say that whatever you're going to say about this album cover art, I think it's an improvement over the original because what you're looking at is the anniversary edition cover art. If you
is it?
If you look at the like OG cover art,
yeah.
It doesn't help.
Not so much, huh?
It doesn't help.
It's kind of it's kind of goofy. It's kind of goofy.
Well,
it looks very 90s.
I went with what I was given, so I went with an 8. 8 out of 10 on what I was sent to review.
I give it a 3.
On both?
Oh no, sorry. As far as the title, I enjoy the actual the title track. So I gave the title track a 7.5.
I gave the album art a 3. You know what really bothered me? Because it's goofy, and I don't know if y'all noticed this, but there's like 2 silhouettes.
Yes.
One is like a straight face, and the other one is like like dude, like I'm good.
It's 1995.
Well, that's not when this was made, so that excuse doesn't work.
When did this re-release come
It
out?
was a 25-year anniversary, so do some math. 2020.
We're almost right on for the 30. I mean, actually, by the time this this review comes out, we might be right on. So the album was released May 29th, so it's almost 30 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the album cover is fine. A 3 was too harsh. I'm just gonna go 5, and then the Land of the Free. It's fine. I mean, whatever.
What does it mean?
I don't know. My brain immediately wants to go Home of the Brave, like the American national anthem, but I don't know that that's really. I don't know because I don't care enough about these lyrics because the songs didn't bring me in. So if that Land of the Free is relevant, I don't know because I didn't like the lyrics enough. So
I'm
also
just
5.
sitting here amazed that if I said any of these words about any other album and the roles reversed, I'd be having this.
Yeah, for sure. We're hypocrites. I don't hide it.
Okay. I'm dying over here.
I am genuinely glad you like this though, Jason. I'm like I wouldn't
look. Here's the thing, and this is the
I wish you liked everything.
Look, this right here is why I haven't completely given up hope on any of the other bands that you guys like that I haven't come around on.
Because 1 out of every 40 albums we review.
Yeah, I just gotta find find that gateway one. That's it. I gotta find the one that hits all the buttons.
Jonah, did you give your score?
No, not yet. I mean,
go ahead.
The album cover is fine. Dave's right; it's goofy. I don't think it's as stupid as he thinks it is. I think because it is a concept album, supposedly.
It's supposed to be about good and evil.
Good and evil, yeah. So very generic. I mean, they have a dang yin and yang on the cover, so it's super on the nose. The album art, it's not bad, but it's fine. I'll give it a 5. And the title, same. It gets a 5 for me.
Same. I double barrel 5'd it.
Yeah, Dave, you said you felt bad giving the cover art a 3. You should not feel bad about that. I'm coming in at a 2. This album cover sucks, but since you guys mentioned that there was another cover, I went and looked up the other cover. I like the other cover way more. Like I
think I do too, actually.
This other cover, I'd give it a 6.
It's still goofy looking.
Yeah. Look, it is. You'd be better off just having Gamma Ray and just a big yin yang sign or yin and yang, whatever. Just put that on there.
Yeah, like I don't need like the Stonehenge or whatever is going on down there. You know what it is? I do think that this album art, obviously, because that's when it was made, but it fits the time period better. Whereas, like the modernized version, I feel like it doesn't fit really the tone of the record, so it just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
And I don't like that this is a minor thing, but I don't like that the Gamma Ray band logo is white. And I know they kind of had to do that, or I guess like stylized wise, but like I like the color version of it here, even though the like death or the demon or whatever is one eye and he looks goofy as hell on the OG cover art, but it's fine.
I'm looking at this old cover art. Yeah, I like the new one better.
No. Title of the album, Land of the Free. I'm just going to give it a 5. I don't know what it means. But they do have the benefit of the fact that at least the title track is a good song on the album. Whereas I feel like we've had a lot of bands recently where the title track was shit. This is not. So good for them. Which leads me into my top tracks. I'll go first here. I have no honorable mention this week. Top 3 was a bit of a struggle, honestly. This is just what I came up with. I don't feel good about really any of these, other than my number 1 song. Number 3 for me, Land of the Free, the title track. Again, good song, good riffs in it, and just refreshing to actually have a good title track again. Number 2 for me, Rebellion and Dreamland. The song we reacted to, opening track on the album. Just a great way to open the album. Number 1 for me, I think this is easily the best song on the record. It's got a little bit of everything in it. And I don't know. It just reminds me of a little bit of Black Sabbath, just with Black Sabbath. My favorite songs, "Into the Void." So for this would be "Abyss of the Void." Just a good song. I really enjoyed that one actually. Jonah, what you got?
So I do have an honorable mention. I have "Abyss of the Void" as my number 4. That is a good song. In fact, did I have? No, I didn't. It's a solid song. The rhythm of those riffs is really really good. So my number 3, as I alluded to before, "Salvation's Calling." Great riffs. Really love that song.
Good opening riff.
And then my number 2, I have a feeling I might be alone in liking this song because it's so weird and it does not fit the rest of the album whatsoever. It's "Time to Break Free." That song kind of doesn't belong on this album, musically at least. I like it.
It's my runner-up of being cut.
Okay,
I didn't cut it, but I don't love it.
I had a feeling you guys wouldn't be sweet on that song, but I really like it.
Pump the brakes, kid. Pump the brakes.
Oh, okay.
All right. And then my number 1, "Gods of Deliverance." Great chorus, amazing riff, the solo rips. I think that's a great song.
I'll go because I think
number 1.
I think we're all gonna judge Jason for his picks, so I'll go next. This was actually picking my top 3 was really easy because I don't think there were very many songs that spoke to me in any real meaningful way. My number 3 is "Gods of Deliverance." Great track, super heavy. Number 2, "Salvation's Calling." Killer opening riff, and like it's funny because let me just get my top 3, and then my number 1 is by a lot, I think, is "Rebellion in Dreamland." Like I wish the album was those 3 songs. I think "Man on a Mission," it's not a cut, or I don't have it cut, but "Man on a Mission," and then like "All of the Damned," like though, like the tone of the album just dips into the toilet for my taste, and like I'm just not a fan of. My score is not going to be that bad, but it's like I'm more. It's like when your parent is disappointed, they're not mad. That's kind of how I feel. So yeah,
fair enough. Jason, what you got?
I actually have 2 honorable mentions.
I knew it.
I have "Time to Break Free,"
There you go.
From this review.
as well as "All of the Damned." My top 3 is pretty much a 3-way. I can't. These are the 3 songs that I found myself listening to over and over, and when I would blindly go through the listings, these songs I would repeat. So I don't have a 3, 2, 1. These are all my number 1 songs. As of right now, they all got the same score. That's going to be "Gods of Deliverance," "Land of the Free," and Josh, you're a smart man, "Abyss of the Void."
Yeah. All right, Fossil, way to be. Next segment here. This is where we like to cut these albums down a little bit and give you kind of the albums we would cut. We all know in the world of metal, the best albums only have 8 songs. So we like to cut these albums down to 8 just to kind of get down to.
Can we cut this down to 3?
Yeah, right. just to the real the best meat on the bone here. So the album we were working with here had 13 tracks, so we had to cut 5 out of here. I'll go first. Again, I think I don't know what Jason will do, but there are 3 just
very obvious
throwaway songs on here: "Rising of the Damned," "The Savior," and "Fairy Tale." All just 1-minute songs, interludes. So the other 2 cuts I would go with, "Farewell," just didn't make sense to me on this record. I hate that song. And then I was jostling between 2, but I went with "All of the Damned" just because there's way too much bass for me in the intro. So, you can't have that. You can't have that much bass and expect me to keep it on the record.
I went with "Farewell" as well. Farewell to that song, and farewell to my enjoyment of this record. And then I also
not going to work here anymore.
No. I also cut "Afterlife." The last song, I thought the album deserved to. I took a note from Josh. I thought the album deserved to end on a better song than that.
That's fair.
The song was just whatever. Neither of these, to me, like realistically, I know I'm trashing it. None of these songs are like terrible pieces of music. But yeah, it's just
for the sake of doing this, you had to cut some songs.
Yeah, I mean, am I ever going to listen to this album again? No.
No. Joe?
Before I do mine, would you rate any of the individual tracks less than a 5?
Are you asking me?
You or Dave?
Yes. Absolutely.
I don't know.
Is it just because they're not really a song?
Farewell is not good. It's not a good song.
Yeah.
For me.
It's pretty all right.
I think I would rate quite a few songs like right around, a 5, somewhere between a 4.5 and a 5.5.
Yeah. Mid 4s, mid 5s.
Yeah.
I didn't have any scores that low.
I didn't either. I was just curious. Because again, there's the 3 obvious cuts. I think at the very least, Fairy Tale and Rising of the Damned can be merged into the songs that they come after, because they're basically using the same riffs anyway. And The Savior is whatever. It's a purely transition track. Unsurprisingly or surprisingly, I'm not sure, but Josh, I have the exact same cuts as you, Farewell and All of the Damned. Now, it sucks. It sucks because All of the Damned does have that really sick bass intro, but overall, the song didn't really do it for me. And that was one of the ones where I was distracted by a very obvious reference. The Hotel California solo. Yeah.
Yep. I sent that to Dave like a week ago, and he just kind of ghosted me. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I won't bring it up because I'm an idiot.
No, you're right. It's 100% a lift. Like
yes.
It's not even. And I didn't do any research to see if like
I tried to, but
couldn't find anything.
Either the band is not popular enough to have had somebody call them out. I know, but what I mean, for the sake of this argument, I did look, and nowhere could I find anybody who
has confirmed the story or whatever.
Yeah.
But almost certain, because it's not like. It's not an ode. It's not an ode to the song. It's literally the solo.
10 seconds. Yeah.
It's 2 of the bars of that solo. Yes. It's almost note for note. But anyway, so those are my cuts. Those were the obvious / lowest scoring songs that I had. So,
all right.
Go ahead, Jason.
All right. So I did cut Fairy Tale and Rising of the Damned, the 2 interludes. I do like The Savior right before The Abyss of the Void, so I kept it. Simply because I was not a big fan of Rebellion of Dreamland. It is my best scored cut, but easily the 2 worst tracks, Farewell and Afterlife.
Fair enough. Yeah, Afterlife was the one I was trying to go back and forth on All the Damned, but
you should be cutting 5 songs, Jason.
Yeah, Fairy Tale, Rising of the Damned, Farewell, Afterlife, and Rebellion of Dreamland.
Okay, for some reason I didn't hear them all. Okay, I'm done.
Sorry.
Yeah, you were done. All right, so hey, we're on to the last category here. This is where we like to give our score for the record. And just to give you a little bit of context, for a lot of folks out there, an average score would be a 7. Well, for us, it's a 5. So if we have an album, various levels between 4.9 and below, that's various levels that we would not recommend that record. 5.0 to 9 is various levels that we would recommend it. And 9 to 10 is like an all-time classic record. As always, I'll try to predict low to high here. I think I'm going to go first. Yeah, I think I'm going to go first on this one. Not to beat this to death, like I said early on, this is something I should like, and for whatever reason, it just couldn't grab me. I recognize there are good to even great moments on this record, but it was so hard to listen to it, and it was very hard to keep my interest. This is the definition of a 5 for me. It's fine. Would I, if I was trying to get somebody into power metal, would I recommend this record? It would be low on my list of recommend. I would not recommend it, but I can think of about 20 albums right now off the top of my head I would recommend before this one easily. So I'm going to come in at a 5 there. Dave? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm the second lowest here. Yeah, same kind of deal. I'm higher on this record than you, Josh, only because, like, objectively, I know the record is good, if that makes sense. But just like, it's not good. Like, I didn't enjoy it, right? But I can understand if somebody told me, I love this record. Like, I get it. Like, I'm not gonna make fun of them. You know, it's not like somebody telling me they. Yeah, it's not like somebody telling me like, oh my god, like this Hanson album is the best album I've ever heard. Like, okay,
Nice.
then
Why is Hanson catching strays?
yeah, look.
I mean, you are dumb.
But so in that regard, I came in at a 6.1. It's the good songs hard carry any enjoyment that I have, but I will never listen to this record again.
All right.
That's
Go ahead, Jonah.
Yeah, so predictably, or as you predicted correctly, I'm definitely going to be the next one up. I did overall enjoy the album. There is a lot of very mid on the album. So that drags down my overall score because I score my songs individually. But there's the highs are pretty high for me. They don't quite reach the highs of some of my other favorite albums, but I think overall they did a pretty good job. So I ended up at a 6.7.
All right.
Wow, I blew y'all out of water.
I can't wait to hear this
Jason,
number.
For the first time probably since a Pantera record. Go ahead and finish this off here.
All right, so look, I am not a big power metal fan. I can listen to it, I can tolerate it, but I'm never going to just pop in an album and listen to it start to finish with the genre of power metal over the top of it. But having said that, this album start to finish, I will definitely listen to in the future. And much to the way Dave listens to albums, I actually prefer to listen to this album start to finish, which is a first. This album broke a lot of the rules that I usually try and hold as I review albums. If I go song by song and just give just the score by score, add it up, take the average of the songs, I'm a little bit lower than I want to be, where I feel this album deserves to be. And because of the way this is like a gateway album for me, and unlike my Judas Priest experience, there are unfortunately no songs on here that I feel like are holy crap, like Master of Puppets level music and stuff like that. So the songs that I do consider really, really good, I don't consider them transcendent. But the album itself, start to finish, I thought was fantastic. So I'm going to give it the highest mark I can give within my grading score range. I gave it an 8.3.
Wow.
I was going to say 8.4.
Not close.
That gives us a 6.53 overall.
That's criminal.
Look, for us, that is a low B. Just how we do things. So I know people are going to say that's a bad score. It is what it is. So I'll read what a 6 is. Or do I round up for... No, I'm reading what a 6 is because the majority of us were lower. So 6 is above average, recommended with caveats. So an album rated 6 has more positives than negatives and generally delivers a good listening experience, though it may have noticeable flaws, inconsistent tracks, or lack originality. It's worth checking out, but only with tempered expectations. Which, contrary to Jason... I think that that at least fits what the three of us feel about the record.
I was going to say, like, you three going in, well, especially, say, Josh and Dave, who are bigger fans of power metal, going into this, that definition that you gave is probably right on point.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good deal. Hey, if you like to bop, dibby dop, bop, do wop, dibby dop, then go ahead and hit the like, the subscribe. We're putting out weekly metal content right now. We got metal reactions, metal reviews, metal time machines, and metal brackets, and all kinds of other cool stuff. And hey, in the meantime, live long and prosper.
Take it easy, everybody.
He did not look up the lyrics for that later.
I did not.
Peace.